Meditation and spiritual life, Swami Yatiswarananda. Think about the self. The best way of attaining real purity is to think that we are pure by nature and never to think of sin, of impurity, of weakness, of imperfection. We are all perfect by nature, but we have forgotten our eternal perfection, and hence we go on committing endless mistakes. But as soon as we regain the memory of our true essence, impurity, sin and imperfection become nothing more than so many dreams. The purity wells up from within because it is our own and has been ours from time immemorial. It never comes from outside. It is not superadded, nor is it to be newly created. Spiritual life means this growth from within, though, really speaking, it is not a growth but only an uncovering. For if perfection and purity did not belong to our own essence, we could never become pure and perfect. We could never be saved. Bring about a transformation within. Then this transformation automatically finds expression in the outside world. Our entire nature must be purified. See that you do not merely whitewash it. First of all, old accretions must be scraped off and the ground relaid in the proper way. Have intense spiritual practice. Then that will help you to rise above your false personality, which is impure. Through your false personality ego, your thoughts become impure and tainted. If your real personality were impure, you could never be purified, and there could be no hope of salvation for any of you. But our real personality is utterly pure, self-luminous, and we must regain it. Good thoughts, deeds, and words are great aids, but they alone, without steady spiritual practice, are not enough, and they could never transform you into something which you are not at present. There must be a complete new attitude towards ourselves, towards the world, towards all mental pictures and memories that rise in our mind. We should feel sorry when an unclean thought wells up in our mind, but this should spur us forward all the more and make us more dogged than ever. We should be thankful that we have come to know that such unclean things exist in our mind. If we do not know them, we can never fight them against them successfully. The greater the trouble, the more manly must the fight be. The greater our determination to remove them, and the greater our relentless tenacity. If really there is dirt and filth in our mind, let us know this fact and know how bad it is. To know an evil as it is half the battle won. It is always good for us to know the possibilities of our mind to do great mischief, so that we may be on our guard and become fully aware of its willy attempts at deception. What a terrible amount of misery man creates for himself and others by giving in to the impulses of lust, anger, greed, violence, etc. And all these impulses would lie deeply hidden in our mind too, if we do not come to know them and annihilate them. Unless we turn our mind consciously to the higher life, it will always remain full of these. For the aspirant, the conscious shifting of the center of consciousness is one of the most important steps in spiritual life. Ordinarily, our personality works around some center, the psychological, the mental, or the spiritual center. In some people, the center of consciousness is the stomach. Example, gluttons and drunkards. In others, it is the lower heart, the seat of worldly emotions. The spiritual aspirant should learn to shift his center of consciousness from the lower to the higher heart. Finally, of all, he must find out, first of all, He must find out his true spiritual center and then, through practice, raise his consciousness constantly to this center. He must always watch whether his consciousness has fallen down from the higher spiritual center. Holding on to one's higher spiritual center of consciousness is an important spiritual discipline.